Is Star Wars dying? Now, this is a question that I feel has been left up to interpretation on how you feel about the Star Wars movies. Some people say that the Star Wars movies are great, wonderful, fine, and there's nothing wrong with it. But then other people say that it's horrible and they're milking the franchise too much as there's nowhere left to go. But with the recent release of The Mandalorian on Disney Plus, I feel that Disney has severely stepped up their game, but we won't know if they have stepped up their game until the release of The Rise of Skywalker in Christmas 2019. Now, I feel that with the release of The Rise of Skywalker in 2019, that Disney and Star Wars will have gone better, but where would you go after that? Because it seems like Disney is running out of runway on where to go after the 2019 Christmas movie. And it is left up to interpretation if Star Wars fans will see another trilogy to a Star Wars movie, or if they're just gonna get separate TV shows and movies on Disney Plus, because with The Mandalorian, that wasn't really needed, but it was something to hold over Star Wars fans until Christmas 2019 when The Rise of Skywalker is going to be released. Star Wars has been an ongoing franchise since 1977, and I feel it has kept its fan base even through the prequels, which in probably everybody's opinion was horrible, especially with the inclusion of Jar Jar Binks. But with more movies that may or may not be released in the Star Wars trilogy, many Star Wars fans are left wondering where to go after that. If there's just going to be Disney Plus TV shows, or will they just have to transition over to Marvel, since there is at least a timeline for Marvel movies in order for Marvel fans to wait until the next movie. But with Star Wars fans, the only information that they're getting is The Mandalorian TV show and the 2019 movie that's going to come out in Christmas. But after that, where do we go? I feel Star Wars has been milked way too much for way too much money. I think Disney is not trying to up its standards, but more so try and make money. Because if Disney was really trying, Star Wars could turn out like the Avengers series, and Disney could make a lot more money, but they aren't trying because they think just because they have a dedicated fan base means that anything that they release just doesn't matter. Now, there is speculation that Disney is going to release another Star Wars trilogy in 2022, but it's not for certain. And I wonder how long Disney can just keep pushing out Star Wars TV shows before they run out of content. Because, don't get me wrong, The Mandalorian looks pretty good, and it is rumored that it had a $1 million budget for each episode. But there's only so much that you can squeeze out of a series before it starts becoming repetitive and it's not really interesting anymore. Because if you hand it over to Disney, then yes, there is a chance that it may redeem itself, but it's not for certain. Because Disney does own a lot of properties, and I don't think that Disney cares about Star Wars as much as they care about the Marvel franchise, because the Marvel franchise has a lot of ground, has a lot of Marvel comics in order to build off of. But Star Wars, yes, there's one or two comics floating around, But Star Wars originally started out as a movie, and yes, you can adapt all different kinds of Star Wars comics, but it's not nearly as expansive as the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the Marvel Comic Universe, as there are millions of comics that Disney can build off and expand off of, like the What If series, which originally started as a comic book series. But what Disney needs to do is find a middle ground where they can expand and build off of Star Wars, but also retaining its true material and not upsetting fans too much that they do not like Star Wars anymore and will move on to another franchise. But leave down below in the comments which kind of theories and suggestions you have on where Star Wars is going to go and what Disney will do with this franchise. But make sure to like and subscribe and ring the bell notification for more content from The Alienist.